the 17th of February, and just going to wait for a few people to arrive. We'll be talking about the upcoming start to Lent, when I hope you'll join me for some deepening practice. We've got 40 days carved out for us, so that's really nice. And also I'm going to be telling you about some of my experiences over the past week regarding crazy energy, I've called it, reconnective healing, and just how wonderful it is and how powerful it is. So I'm just going to check that you can hear me all right. Look who's arriving. Just bear with me. I can bring up the live stream on I can see that I'm live, that's good. And then I can see also if people are saying hello. Hi, hello. I'm not going to give your name away. Sometimes I know you outside of YouTube, so I know your first name. But JR's Place, For the Love of Elvis. I'm just going to use your handle. It's lovely to see you and good to have you here. And Julie, hello, good morning. I'm so glad you remembered, because I don't advertise. I don't have time to advertise. I just promise you that I will always turn up. I'll be here if you'll be here. Christiane, brilliant. Carolina, that's so nice. I was hoping this would happen, that if I did it regularly, then you would know. Mihai, hello. Ah, that's so lovely. I can hear you. Does it sound good? I have got the, it's over there, is the microphone set up. So hopefully you can hear me all right. It was a bit soft last time. I realised I was speaking really quietly. Let me just hope I don't think it's turned down completely. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll leave it as it is if you can hear me all right. Brilliant. So what I'm going to do is just, tell you about some of the things that have been happening. So I had a reconnective healing. I had a few actually this last week, but one in particular I want to share about. And I will just say, while people are joining, before we do go into a time of feeling the frequencies together, using this sacred time together to experience the deepening and just to be in the zone of receiving. I already get tingles when I'm just talking about it. But while we're waiting for other people to join, I am just going to say about reconnective healing. If you were to have a one-to-one on my website, you can find out how to do that. One thing that I would say is that I do like to share your experiences. It's important to me. My channel is all about my own journey. I began the channel for the very purpose of finding out just what the scope of reconnective healing was for communicating and sharing with others using the digital devices and, you know, the internet really as a non-local modality, because it is. And so it's important to me to be able to talk about experiences that I have. I will always respect your privacy in the sense that that's just the common sense thing to do. That's just courtesy. But I will tell the anecdotal stories because they become part of my stories. And unless you specifically say to me at the beginning, I don't want any mention of anything related to this to be shared, then that's just taken that I will talk about it because it's wonderful to share. And you know, it encourages people. My main motivation is not only for my own exploration and journey, but to inspire people. Ooh, it's live, so I can't guarantee that there won't be noises, but somebody's obviously in a rush. But to bring evidence that we are in a multidimensional universe. This reality, this so-called reality, is just a filtered version of what's really there, and not just somewhere out there that we have to try and arrive at, but it's with us now, very present, and all we have to do is sit quietly and be open, and we experience and we receive just a new understanding and awareness. So that's what I will do. I hope that's okay. You can share. So I was going to say that if I will always give a different name, and then it's entirely up to anybody else. If someone in the chat comes and says, "Hey, that's me," that's entirely up to them. But I will share and give a pseudonym. So earlier this week, let me tell you about Mary. I'll call her Mary. Mary asked for a reconnective healing, and it was actually quite short. I said, "Oh, I could do it this evening if you want," because the next morning I knew I was busy the next day, so I said I can do it this evening. And we arranged a time, and I set up with my phone, with the microphone, as I do here in live session, so that I can switch the microphone off, just so that no noise won't distract while we're doing the healing. And so as soon as I saw Mary, I could see that she was so relaxed. She was in this room that was darkened, like the lights were low, and she looked very relaxed lying down. And I thought, oh, she's really wanting to get the most out of this experience. And we have a little chat at the beginning, which is quite normal. And she told me that she used that room for meditation, and I just got the feeling that she was somebody that was really attuned, if you know what I mean. Might use the word psychic, some people don't like that, but I just got that sense. Anyway, we began the healing, and I was feeling such a lot, as I'm beginning to feel now here. Which does make me think, folks, that the more we sit in the power, the stronger the power gets. Because I have certainly noticed that there's an increase in intensity through doing the lives on a Friday with you, that it's almost as though you pick up from where you left off, so it's just a cumulative all the time. You don't have to work at getting back to that building up again, it's just there, and it's like a powerhouse. And I like to stand up sometimes when I do the healing. I just move around the room, and I don't want that to be a distraction, so I just say, you don't have to see me, I don't have to see you, but I'll be here, and I'll just call your name after the 20 minutes or whatever. Anyway, every time I moved, I noticed that my phone was making a noise, because we do it by video call, and I just noticed, I'm not touching it, but even just moving, like I moved, it was starting to crackle. And then when I came to talking to Mary at the end, it was just amazing. By then, it was very, very powerful in the room. She gave feedback and said she felt like a cold wind blowing over her body. She felt strong sensations in her arms and fingers, certainly more so down one side. A lot of the very usual things that people describe about physical sensations in their body. And she was so blissed out. She was just so blissed out. It was as though she was just on some trip of something, I don't know. I didn't want to disturb her. I thought, I'll just let you enjoy that and bathe in it. So we didn't talk for too long, because we couldn't talk for too long. Because every time I tried to answer her, the phone was cracking, and it was as though her voice just shrunk away really quietly. And I couldn't hear what she was saying back to me. And then it would gradually come loud. And then I'd respond, and then she would fade out again, almost like underwater, like something about waves going on. But the phone was cracking like a firework in the end. We just said, I'm going to have to give up, and we'll just text later. But she has since reported back that she was just feeling the energy so strongly for the rest of that evening, the rest of the next day. And certainly I needed to go and wash my hands, because it was almost as though they were on fire, like they were stinging. And I needed to ground and use the water to just ground me. So very, very powerful. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. So let's just see who's arrived. Yeah, tingles already, same here. When I just talk about it, I get the tingles. Good afternoon, everybody, lovely. I'm getting it round my head. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do now, I've kept you waiting for, yeah, a lot of energy, yeah. I've kept you waiting and we're going to go into the healing now. So I hope that you're ready to receive. And I will just say to anybody that's new here that perhaps has joined us today, stumbled over this live stream or watching back later, I'm not a healer. I'm a reconnective healing practitioner, which means I activate these frequencies, the reconnective healing frequencies of energy, light and information. And what they do is they return, they help us, assist us in a return to wholeness. So this is just one modality within that whole paradigm shift that is happening, that is moving us forward as a human collective. This is evolution, and it's an activation of the light body, if you want to use those words. Lots of different ways to describe it, but the main thing to communicate to you is that I'm not sending energy. It doesn't go from A to B, from me to you. I am receiving. I'm receiving, and by some wonderful mystery, when I receive, you receive, because of the field of oneness, because of our innate unity and oneness. And that's the truth. And I find that when I just emphasize that, that's when it becomes powerful. If I start pretending that I'm some healer, ego gets in the way, and no, it doesn't happen. So I'm just receiving in the same way that you're receiving. So if you're ready, I do suggest to people that you lie down if you can. I'm ready to receive. Got lots of hearts there, love, lots of love in the room. Hopefully you're able to just turn off anything that's distracting. Sit comfortably or lie down. And I will just do what I would normally do in a session. I'm not following a technique. I move my hands, but that's just because I like to play with the energies and the sensations. And then when I feel the time has come, it's different in a one-to-one session. It goes on a lot longer, but I will just, usually it tends to be around 7 minutes, that kind of timing when it tends to be and feel complete. And then I'll come back and we'll have a little chat, and you can give me some feedback if you want to. Okay? So just be open to receive. wonder how that felt for you. Could you feel the frequencies? Hi Thomas, I saw that you joined us. I hope you're well. I hope your family is doing okay. You've been on my mind, and I hope you've had an okay week. I realised I didn't turn the volume off that time. I think it was fairly quiet. I did notice when I was holding my hands like this that I was watching my own finger and I was just getting this involuntary twitch. So one of the things that is an indicator, if you like, of the frequency activation are little involuntary twitches, and they're off at the fingers are an obvious place. It's noticeable because you'd get a lot of movement in your finger if it's an involuntary twitch, but it can happen on your face. I got little tickly nose at one bit. Happen anywhere really, on your surface of your skin. Sometimes people feel it on the head. But it's very, very peaceful. And one of the things that people always say, without a doubt, is that they feel very deeply relaxed and that it's a high, pure energy. And I certainly wouldn't do it if it wasn't like that. I certainly wouldn't want to keep doing it if I wasn't certain that it was high and pure. It's almost angelic. It feels angelic. And it definitely feels as though you're in the presence of loving energies, loving beings, I will go so far as to say. Sometimes people feel that they're being touched, and they'll say, well, I felt something touch me, but you weren't anywhere near. Yeah. Car passing, yeah. The car was passing at one bit. It sounded like waves, did it? I did that, I did wonder if when the volume's left on, whether there's a swooshing sound from the energy, because one thing we noticed is that I know devices are they do pick up on energy, and one of the things that me and Mary noticed a few days ago was that it definitely felt like if you're watching it on a graph, it would have been waves in terms of it coming like a pulse in and out, in and out. The sound was just going in and out, but also the crackle. So I did wonder if I leave the energy on, if I leave the microphone on, whether some of you might even notice that you get changes in how your devices are working. Be interesting to see. Let's have a look what else you're saying. Hello, Rick. See whoever else has joined. I could feel the frequencies, especially around my head. It's still in my hands. Yeah, it stays for quite a while afterwards. Felt it around the crown. I'm just going back so I'm not missing what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, that's nice, Julie. Yeah. I just love this community. Always supporting one another and getting to know one another. Around the crown, always feel it around the crown. And I do think there's something in this. Nearly falling asleep yet, but something about the crown chakra being opened or being, which is obviously connection to higher vibrational energies. Rick. Thank you, Rick. Feeling it here now as I'm talking. Let me just scan down these messages. My dog started barking. Maybe he felt something. Yeah. Felt peace and relaxation. I do know that my dog does like to be in the same room as me. He's not with me now, but he does like to be in the same room as me. That's why I tend to turn the volume down just in case he suddenly barks. But I think he finds the energies. I think he really likes it. Yeah. It was crazy, yeah. I do catch waves on the phone, yeah, interesting. Sounded relaxing like quiet waves. And I'm not hearing them now, isn't that interesting? As though perhaps it increased during the healing time when we were sitting in the power. I think that, I just wanted to emphasize that it's powerful, and that power is always with you, and it stays with you, and it becomes you. It's just with you all the time. But isn't it lovely that when we come together, there's something about that being enhanced? Maybe it's to do with our joint focus. I don't know. I'm not going to try and explain it. But I did feel it in my head. Good. Yeah. I wonder if that's different, Thomas. It's interesting to know, because I think you've always said you felt it in your hands. I'm wondering if people notice that it's shifting and that they're getting different sensations. Yeah. Kitty loves it here. Cats, animals and pets. I'd love to know if they notice anything differently. You know, like, I don't know if you've ever had this experience of being able to see the air. Do you know what I mean by that? Sometimes if you come out of deep meditation and very deeply relaxed, or if you've had some sort of, you know, spiritual practice, healing, it's as though the air becomes thick. I know this if I've done a few sessions back to back. I'll think I need to go and ground now, because it's as though it becomes like thick soup. I can almost see the particles of air. And then you start, it just as if it's flowing movement, almost like snow, like energy snow. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if people experience that. Still feel tickling around my face, yeah. I love the thought that it's the angels sort of just stroking, you know, like when you somebody that's like a loving grandparent or something, and to a child would just sort of touch your face, and it's a loving gesture. It's nice to think that, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I have witnessed the air. Yeah. It's good to know, isn't it? It's not just you that's a bit crazy. It's nice when you can share those experiences and somebody else says it. Another thing that people say to me, and I wonder if any of you have this, I get it as soon now as I start healing, if I close my own eyes, is the little like light, that indigo light. I always say it's blue indigo, other people call it like violet, but it's sort of a purpley blue light, and it's got a vague shape of a sort of circular shape, and it tends to sort of pulse. Sometimes I've been captivated by it and tried to focus on it and watch it, and it seems to sort of almost make this movement, just gentle pulsations. So I don't know if some of you get that too, the blue light. I don't know, I've heard people say that might be to do with chakras. I just think of it as being a healing colour, and it's definitely just, some people have said it's Michael, Archangel Michael. I don't know. But I just know that it's a phenomena that I get and experience. Looking out of the window, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Most can see white light. Interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I feel the love, feel the energy, and I hope you feel really set up for your weekend. I know for some of you it's the start of the day. Some of you will be watching this on playback, so I hope you feel it too. Do let me know in the comments if you're watching back on playback, because this works outside of time and space. This is the amazing thing about it. And we're in some quantum field. And when people talk about the quantum field being outside of time and space, that's the scientific word for it, using it as describing it as a field. I like the religious word for it might be eternity. It's as if it's a little pocket of eternity. We step into eternity. And I love this idea that we're souls just having this earthly journey. So we've got one camp in 3D, but then we've also got one foot in that camp of 3D, and then we've got another foot. We're still connected to the other dimensions, and that's an infinite number of dimensions, but you know, eternity. And so yeah, may you be blessed, enjoy the view. Yeah, about the waves and the frequencies, I'd like to see that. Thank you. Yeah, it's nearly 2:30 here. Yeah, I always say I'll try and keep it within half an hour, then people will watch it through to the end. I just want to say this, my forgiveness journal, I'm going to be doing this starting, it's very soon now, Lent, and this 40 days of Ho'oponopono, we've got 40 days carved out for us on the Lenten journey. And so you might be somebody who always does Lent the conventional way. This is like a bit of an alternative way of doing Lent as a deepening practice. You may be someone that doesn't observe it. I'm not asking you to give anything up. This isn't about giving up for Lent. This is about engaging in a deepening process, a deepening practice. And what I'm curious to see from a personal point of view is that although I've used reconnective healing, I've used Ho'oponopono, I've not done it consistently as a practice for 40 days, for a 40-day spell. It's quite a long time to do it consistently, and I wouldn't say that I've done that before. So I'm curious to experience that too, because I know with the reconnective healing that it builds, it's accumulative. And so I'm interested to start that. So what I'm going to be doing is I might do little lives. I might go on the community tab, but I'm just going to be touching base with you, with those of you who are wanting to do this 40-day journey with me. I'll be communicating some way. So make sure if you want to do it that firstly you're subscribed and that your notifications are on. And then you might see me pop up on the communities tab. So do look along. If you're on the channel, the community posts, it's just like a Facebook post where I can just, you know, write something if I'm not going to be making a video. But I might just do a live. I haven't got a lot of time to edit videos, so they might just be short. And then I'll leave them on for a couple of days so that you can catch up. But after a couple of days, I've decided I'm just going to then delete stuff. I'm deleting it because I'm keeping it current, keeping it present. And somehow it's important that it's not going to be there forever on YouTube. But I will, this thought came to me this morning, on my own website. I've got a blog on my own website, and I will put the links to all of the 40-day stuff, whatever I do over the 40 days, on the blog. Sometimes if that is a video, it will still be there. It won't be deleted. It'll just be unlisted. That means you won't find it if you go to my channel publicly, but if you follow my blog on my channel on my website and go there, it will all. I will leave it up just so there is a way of going back if you wanted to go back. Okay, you can buy the book. It's more like a kind of thick. Reminds me of one of those magazines because it's actually that sort of size, and it's also a practical workbook where you can just document your journey, but it takes you through introducing the practice and reflecting on it. Okay, so yeah, it should be fun to do, and it'll be nice to hear how you get on with that. So thank you to everyone who's joined me. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday, for the upload. Please go back and watch Tuesday's video. I'll put it here if you haven't already seen it. Somewhere it'll come at the end. And then I'll catch you on Wednesday, our first day of Lent, and then Friday as usual. So take care. Thanks for joining me. God bless. Bye for now.